Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something that history books don't always tell you. 3 disasters. 3 moments when the world almost fell apart. But here's the thing, they didn't tell us the whole truth. Let's find out why. We're talking about the North Sea flood of 1953, the Halifax Explosion of 1917, and the Chernobyl disaster of 1986. 3 different places, 3 different times, but they all share one dark secret. The truth was hidden from the people who needed it most. Imagine waking up one morning and finding out that everything you believed about a disaster was only half the story. That's exactly what happened to thousands of people. And today we're going to uncover what really went down behind closed doors. Let's start in the Netherlands, 1953. A small country known for its windmills and tulips. But on the night of January 31st, something terrifying happened. The North Sea turned into a monster. Waves as high as houses crashed into the coastline. But here's the thing, they knew it was coming. For 30 years, Dutch scientists had been warning the government. They said the dikes weren't strong enough. They said a big flood was coming. But the government ignored them. Why? Because building better dikes was expensive, and they thought they had more time. On that freezing winter night, the dikes broke. Water rushed into villages while people were sleeping. Families climbed onto their rooftops, holding each other, praying for help. In just a few hours, over 1,800 people lost their lives. And the worst part? Most of them never heard a warning. Rescue boats with lanterns scoured the flooded streets. Neighbors saved neighbors. Strangers became heroes. But even with all their efforts, the damage was done. Entire villages were washed away. And the government's response? Too little, too late. Here's something they didn't tell you. International aid poured in from all over the world. But more than half of it never reached the victims. It got stuck in bureaucratic red tape. Boxes of food and blankets sat in warehouses while people starved in the cold. After the flood, the Dutch government finally took action. They built the Delta Works, one of the most incredible engineering projects in history. Massive walls and barriers to protect the country forever. But it took years of suffering before they decided to act. The Netherlands is safe now. But the question remains, how many lives could have been saved if they had listened to the warnings? It's a lesson we still haven't learned. Now let's cross the Atlantic to Halifax, Canada. The year is 1917. World War I is raging in Europe. But in this quiet harbor town, something far more devastating was about to happen. Something that would be erased from the headlines. On the morning of December 6th, 2 ships collided in the harbor. One of them was carrying explosives, thousands of tons of TNT. The crew tried to warn everyone, but it was too late. Within minutes, the entire city would be destroyed. The explosion was so powerful that it literally shook the ground hundreds of miles away. It was the largest man-made explosion before the atomic bomb. Buildings collapsed. Fires spread everywhere. And in an instant, almost 2,000 people were dead. The survivors faced something even more horrifying. Thousands of people were blinded by flying glass. Their eyes were permanently damaged. But the government refused to pay compensation for decades. They said it wasn't their fault. During the chaos, women volunteers stepped up. They carried stretchers, treated the wounded, and comforted the dying. It was the first time in Canadian history that women played such a major role in disaster relief. And yet, their names were never mentioned in official reports. Why didn't you hear about this disaster? Because World War I was happening. The government was afraid that news of the explosion would lower public morale, so they censored the story. They buried it. Hundreds of lives were reduced to a footnote in history. An investigation was held, but the results were never fully released. No one was held accountable. And today, most people have never heard of the Halifax explosion. But we remember. And now you do too. Now we move to Ukraine, 1986. The Soviet Union was a superpower. They controlled the news. They controlled the truth. But they couldn't control what happened on April 26th, when a routine test at the Chernobyl power plant went horribly wrong. Engineers were performing a dangerous experiment. They knew it was risky, but the government pushed them to do it anyway. When the reactor exploded, a massive fireball lit up the night sky, and the world would never be the same. Radioactive smoke spread across Europe. But here's the part they didn't tell you. The government waited 36 hours to warn the public. Schools stayed open. Children played outside, while invisible poison rained down on their heads. 3 engineers, Alexei Ananenko, Valery Bespalov, and Boris Baranov, volunteered for a suicide mission. They went into the flooded basement of the reactor to open the release valves. If they failed, a massive steam explosion would have made Chernobyl look like a small incident. They waded through radioactive water, guided by flashlights. They found the valves and turned them, and they saved millions of lives. 2 of them are still alive today, but for decades their names were forgotten. Until now, they were given medals eventually, but the recognition came too late. One of them, Boris Baranov, passed away in 2005. The others were left with the scars of that night. Brave men who never asked for fame. They just did what needed to be done. 3 disasters. 3 hidden truths. Uncommon lesson. The truth is often the first victim of any catastrophe. But now you know. Share the story. Remember their names. Because the world doesn't just need heroes. It needs people who refuse to forget.